For more on Fed Chair Powell's speech and what it all means for the upcoming September meeting, we're joined by former Federal Reserve Governor and Chicago Booth School of Business Professor of Economics, Randy Kroszner. Randy, it's great to have you join here. So kind of characterize your level of surprise in terms of the tilt of Chair Powell's comments and really the implications for, let's say, the next few meetings.
So I think they were, he was really in kind of a wait and see mode. And he basically said, we've waited and we've now seen relatively muted impact of the tariff. So we don't really have to wait much longer to potentially start cutting rates, because the labor market clearly has been weakening. That data that came out, those revised data came out recently, suggests that's the labor market's weakening. And he said there's really no sign of the tariffs causing inflation expectations to become unanchored. So it's really more of a one-off rather than an ongoing inflationary cycle. And so I think he's made it pretty clear he's ready to start moving in September.
Now, presumably that runs a little bit counter to at least some members of the committee. It felt like there was a pretty healthy split, a debate about this, about whether there was the luxury of being able to wait longer. Perhaps that payroll report we got on August 1st really did change the equation. I guess if you work under the premise that rates are right now restrictive by whatever, a percentage point or so, then I guess just that one jobs report means you can overlook more inflation. I mean, it seems as simple as that.
Well, I think they've gotten more data to suggest that the inflation impulse from the tariffs is a bit more muted. And also they learned more about how the tariffs are being put on, some taken off, some negotiated down. And so rather than the initial kind of tariff tantrum that we had back in April, thinking that, oh my goodness, tariffs are going to go up everywhere 20, 30%, we can see it's much more muted. It's going to have more of an impact, slower impact over time. I think that makes Chair Powell and others feel more comfortable. That's not going to lead to inflation expectations becoming unanchored. And clearly, those labor market, those data revisions, not just for the most recent report, but for the previous few months, suggest that the labor market really has been weakening.
The idea that we are now really going to be leaning quite a bit on inflation expectations as dictating whether, in fact, there's room to continue bringing rates down. I wonder if that becomes a little fuzzy. What specific inflation expectations would you think we'd be looking at? Sometimes, over the course of the big tightening campaign, when the Fed was chasing high inflation rates, it felt as if they were using inflation expectations as a little bit of a cover to say, listen, don't expect us to stop anytime soon. So how does that play out at this point when they're looking to see if they have room to ease?
Yeah, so that is the inflation expectations are kind of the holy grail in monetary policy making. And it's not clear what is the right number to use. Do you use the numbers that come out of the Treasury inflation-protected bonds, the TIPS? Do you look at measures of consumer surveys? Do you look at business surveys? And so it gives the Fed a little bit of wiggle room there. And it's also a judgment call of which way to, which piece to emphasize. But I think what we've seen is that initially there were some people who were concerned that, gosh, the Fed had said everything's going to be transitory a few years ago. It wasn't. Now, they kept inflation expectations reasonably anchored, but gosh, if we see another inflation impulse, are people going to continue to believe them? Well, at least so far, people continue to believe them.